Dear students, I welcome you back in the lecture series of Computer Architecture and Organization, that is KCS 302. Here we have started our Unit 4, Lecture 2 with memory. In the previous lecture, we have started with the basic information about the memory, what are the different types, how they work, what are the internal structure as well. Similarly, in this second lecture, we will start about some internal structure of the memory, how the memory has been developed, has been manufactured, architecture, how they work, what type of memories basically are there, like synchronous type or asynchronous type, dynamic or static. We will discuss all about these features of the memory in this lecture. Let's start with the lecture 2. Here we will start with the semiconductor memories. Semiconductor memory is the digital electronic semiconductor devices used for digital data storage such as computer memory. It typically refers to MOS. What is the meaning of MOS? MOS is metal oxide semiconductor. So these are called as MOS memory, where data is stored within a metal oxide semiconductor memory cells. In other words, we are using the memory cells which are made of MOS, means metal oxide semiconductor, on a silicon integrated circuit. What is the integrated circuit? It is the you might be aware with the short name, that is IC. What is the meaning of integrated circuit? It is called as IC. So this is the internal organization of the memory chip. Here each memory cell can hold one bit of information. Memory cells are organized in the form of an array. One row is one memory word. All cells of the row are connected to a common line, which is called as word line. And word line is connected to the address decoder. Sense write circuits are connected to the data input output lines of the memory chip. What is this organization is all about? This organization is the internal architecture of the memory chips. In other words, how the memory chips has been organized internally. In the next slide, we will discuss the diagram of the internal organization of the memory chip, wherein we will discuss how these terms, these you can say information which has been given previously in this slide, how the memory cells are organized in the form of array, what is the meaning of one row, and how the all cells of the row are connected to common line. This you will see in this next slide. This is the internal organization of memory chips. The theory or the discussion about this particular diagram, organization of bit cell in the memory chip, has been given in the previous slide, that is into this slide. Here you have seen the each memory cell can hold one bit of the information. You can see these are the memory cells. I will show you with this anode feature. In this anode feature with the spotlight, I am going to show you the everything. Here you will see these are the memory cells. These are different memory cells which has been organized in the form of array. This one will be called as one word. These all memory cells all together will be called as one word. So this W0 will be called as one word. This W1 will again is called as the second word, and here you will see W15 will be called as the another 15th word. So by this way, all these memory cells has been connected to each other so that they are forming one word, second word, third word, and till 15th word. These are the sense, you can say read or write circuits, wherein you can use for helping, you can use these words for writing or reading the value. These are read write options, and this is chip select. These are the some bits B0, B1, B2, which are used for data input and output lines. And from here you can see these are the flip flops, one bit cell. You might be aware what is the definition of flip flop. And these are some address lines. This is address decoder, and these are the address lines. You will see the complete detail has been given previously in this slide. Here, by that way, everything of the internal organization of memory can be understood by this particular diagram. As far as the information of this memory chips, this is the complete memory chip organization, and this is the organization, or this is the, you can say, pictorial representation of a memory cell, a single memory cell. These are the multiple memory cells. Here we are using combination of multiple memory cells and making a single word in the form of row connecting together. All the memory cells are connecting together, they are forming a word, and this is the single memory chip. By this you can understand how a memory chip works. Here you will see we are having 5-bit row address for the row and 5-bit for the column. Total 10 address bits are there. We are using 5-bit for row addressing and 5-bit for column addressing. These are the 5-bit decoder. It is again, you are having word 1, word 2 till the word 31st, means 32 words are there. By 32-bit memory cell array can be arranged by this memory chip. Here we are having sense, read and write circuit, read write option, and this is the chip select. This is the internal organization of a single memory chip, and it is the multiple memory chips connected together making the single word, and that is called as the internal organization of memory chips. So by this way we can understand, we can know how a memory is all about from the internal architecture, from the internal organization. Here we are having the static RAM cell. A static RAM cell, in this complete lecture 2, we will discuss about the architecture and the organization of the memory, internal structure of the memory. Means how they work, how the internal hardware structure of a memory is. Everything all about the structure, everything all about the organization and the architecture, internal architecture of the memory has been discussed into this particular lecture. This is the static RAM cell. Two transistors, inverters are cross connected to implement a basic flip-flop. The cell is connected to one word line and 2-bit lines by transistor T1 and T2. In other words, these are the inverters. We are having two inverters which are being connected inversely in the form of reverse form. The cell is connected to one word line and 2-bit lines. You will see one word line. You will see here, this is the word line and 2 bits line. These are the bits line, one bit and the second bit. These are the 2 bits line, and this is the one word line by the transistor T1 and T2. These are the transistor T1 and transistor T2. When word line is at ground level, the transistors are turned off and the latch retain its state. This is a two-state diagram. You will see state 1 and state 0. If the logic value at point X is 1 and Y is 0, then it will be called as state 1. If the logic value at point X is 0 and Y is 1, then the state will be called as state 0. By this way, static RAM cells can be studied. By this way, static RAM cell can be known in the form of its internal architecture. These are the two methods by which we synchronize our memory, by which we promote our memory to work. These are called as synchronous and another is called as asynchronous. This has been discussed about the synchronous dynamic random access memory and asynchronous dynamic random access memory. What is about the synchronous? I will give you a very simple example before going into the detail, or going into the definition side of the synchronous and asynchronous. The very analogy example can be taken from the like you have to board one side you have to board a rail, a train, another side you have to board a hired taxi. Whenever you are going, you are commuting to the college or some school, you are having some taxi or some cab you are using. That cab comes like at your doorstep at, so for example, say 7:40 a.m. If you are late by 4 5 minutes, then taxi will wait for you. Some of the time it will also again happen the taxi driver comes 4 or 5 minutes early and you are not ready. You have to go at 7:40, then he will wait for 5 or 10 minutes. What is this manner will called as? This complete manner will be called as asynchronous. Means one function waits for another function to occur, and then both the function, both the state, both the devices are in ready state, then the function will be occurred. In the second case, you see the example of the train. You have to board a train which comes at 7:40 and you are reaching to the station at 7:45, or say even a single minute late at the station, you can't board the station. What is the meaning? The second option or the second device is not waiting for your occurrence. It will work as per its cycle, it will work as per its frequency, and if you will be available, then the function will be occurred. If you are not available, then your function will be completed in the next cycle. In the next cycle, in other words, you can board a train which come after 7:40, means a train which suits your time, means when you will be there you can use the train. This type of organization will be called as synchronous. So by this way you can understand the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Here in the synchronous dynamic random access memory, the system clock coordinate or synchronize the memory accessing. Therefore the CPU knows the timing or the exact number of cycles in which the data will be available from the RAM to the input output bus. It increases memory read write speed overall. The synchronous dynamic random access memory is faster in speed and operates efficiently than the normal dynamic random access memory. What about the asynchronous DRAM? The first personal computer in the previous legacy systems, in the older systems, we were using asynchronous dynamic random access memory. It is the older version of the dynamic random access memory in asynchronous DRAM. The system clock does not coordinate or synchronize the memory accessing. When accessing the memory, the value appears on the input output bus after a certain period. Therefore, it has some latency that minimizes the speed. Usually, asynchronous RAM work in low speed memory system, but no appropriate form of modern high memory system. At present, the manufacturing of asynchronous RAM is quite low because not in use. Every people want fast RAM, so there is no requirement of the asynchronous dynamic random access memory. Today, synchronous DRAM is used instead of asynchronous dynamic random access memory. So I feel you got the difference, you got the basic difference between the synchronous and asynchronous. So this was all about the synchronous dynamic random access memory and asynchronous dynamic random access memory. This is the simple diagram, a 16 megabit dynamic random access memory chip into which a synchronous dynamic random access memory has been shown. Here each row can store 512 bytes, 12 bits to select a row and 9 bits to select a group in a row. Total 21 bits. You can read again this line. Here 12 bits are required to select a row and 9 bits to select a group. Total 12 plus 9 is equal to 21 bits are required. First apply the row address RAS, that is called row address strobe. What is the full form of RAS? It is row address strobe. Single slashes the row address, then apply the column address. CS signal, that is column address strobe, signal latches the address. Timing of memory unit is controlled by specialized unit which generates row address strobe and column address strobe. This is asynchronous dynamic random access memory. In the synchronous dynamic random access memory, the operation of SDRAM are controlled by the clock signal. What is the meaning of clock signal? I told you already, a fixed clock, a clock of the processor is being used over here. which initialize, which synchronize the every function, every working of the devices, every function of the units which are using, which are synchronized to that particular clock. Here operation is directly synchronized with processor clock signal. The output of the sense circuit are connected to a latch. During a read operation, the content of the cell in the row are loaded onto the latch. During the refresh operation, the content of the cells are refreshed without changing the content of the latch. Data held in the latches correspond to the selected columns are transferred to the output. This is the simple uh, diagram of synchronous dynamic random access memory. Here you are aware with the row column address, refresh counter, and the cell array. Everything has been written over here. You can easily understand from the diagram itself. This is the synchronous dynamic random access memory. In continuation to the previous slide, these are the some requirement which are being generated for synchronous dynamic random access memory. Here, refresh circuits are included every 64 milliseconds. Clock frequency should be greater than 100 megahertz. This is the information regarding Intel PC100 and PC133. Latency and bandwidth. These are the two terms which you must be aware. What is the meaning of latency and what is the meaning of bandwidth? When it comes to the latency, it is the amount of time it takes to transfer a word, data, or from the memory. For example, the time which has been taken or which is required to transfer a word or a single data from the memory is called as memory latency. And what is about the memory bandwidth? From the dictionary word of bandwidth, you might be aware in nowadays every student, even school students are working or talking about the bandwidth. The speed of my internet is very slow, the bandwidth is very less, the speed of my computer is very fast, I have a very high bandwidth, I have a broadband connection at my home. So you might be aware what I want to tell you regarding the bandwidth. This is the number of bits or bytes that can be transferred in 1 second. Means whether your net speed or your internal system speed. Memory bandwidth is the number of bits or bytes that can be transferred in 1 second. It is used to measure how much time is needed to transfer an entire block of the data. Bandwidth is the product of the rate at which data are transferred and the width of the data bus. Here we have a double data rate SDRAM, that is called as DDR. What is the full form of DDR? It is double data rate static dynamic memory. Not static, it is double data rate synchronous dynamic random access memory. In this standard SDRAM perform all the actions on the rising edge. You might be aware what is the meaning of rising edge. Rising edge of the clock signal. DDR SDRAM access the cell array in same way but transfers the data on both edges of the clock. The cell array is organized in two banks. Each can be accessed separately. Memory system consideration. In this particular, we will just work how type of memory should be considered, what type of memory we should be prefer by using our system or while designing our computer system. This particular slide will tell you how you have to consider, how you have to define, how you have to select what type of memory should be used as per the application required. The cost, speed, power, size. Whenever you are looking for a memory, you are looking for some application. On that time, your requirements will be accessed. A feasibility study of your requirement and the feasibility study to requirement to the memory, requirement to the cost, speed and power and the size is being done. In that particular manner, we discuss what type of memory is being required, whether on the basis of cost, how much cost you can bear, how much speed you require, and what will be the size you require. So SRAM are faster, more expensive, but smaller. Dynamic RAMs are slower, cheaper, but you can easily find a larger size of DRAMs. So we have studied about the memory. and the internal architecture of the memory. Here, the last but not the least topic, it is about the memory controller. What a controller is called as? A controller is a device which controls that particular device. In other words, it is a controller which controls the every activity, the information, the working of a particular system. Here you can say memory controller, you can say control unit is again a controller for the every working of the processor. You might be aware with the control unit of the CPU. Same way, this is the controller, memory controller, which act as a mediator between the processor and the memory, in the system memory. You will see here, we are having some address lines, read write lines, request, clock, which by these ways processor initiate, by these ways processor work with the memory controller. And how the memory controller work with the memory controller work with the memory with the form of row column, row address stop, column address stop, read write, chip select, and the clock. But how it works? It works in a very simple manner, like you will see when a processor required some information, whether this information can be read operation or a write operation, it will send a request signal to the memory controller. Then this memory controller will access, it will serve the request by the way by sending the signal, whether it is a read signal or a write signal to the memory. These row address stop and column address stop will be generated to read that particular address which are being required for addressing. These are the row address and this is the column address. By knowing the row address and the column address, the particular bit which has been stored at a particular place will be accessed, and that request will be served from the memory with the help of memory controller to the processor. This is the complete working how a system, how a memory system generally works. This is all about the memory controller. These are the simple words, simple terms which we are using in the memory controller. These are the address, memory location address by the processor. What is RAS? This is row address stop. What is CS? It is column address stop. What is request? Requesting for reading or the writing from the memory. And what is CS? This is chip select. So we have completed this lecture second. It is my advice to you all to go through some books, because without going through the books, you will not be having so large view of the chapter, so large view of the, you can say, things which has been discussed over here. Obviously, in this lectures, in the online lectures, you can't cover everything. If you are going to a book, then you will get maximum of the information, and from reading the book, whether you take a pre-read or you can take a post-read, but it will help, it will surely help you to learn faster and easier if you go through with a book. So thanks for listening.